right, I'm showing Emil here the dash for the 57 Ford. Let me get it out and show you. So stripped it all down, gutted it, took everything out of it, and wire brushed it all down, and found I had a couple dents here, one here and one here, and I'm sure what it was from. The glove compartment stuck, and somebody went bam, hit that, because you could see the heel of the fist. And then over here, there was another dent where they probably did that. So I knocked them out from the backside, then I bondoed over them, and got them pretty flat, and got them done. So down here, this is where the ashtray was, right in here. And I took the ashtray out, I ground all this down, I cut a piece of metal and put in where the ashtray was at. Then I tacked it in all around it, and then I bondoed it in. And I'm going to do the same thing with the glove compartment. I'm going to put the glove compartment door on here, weld it in. Then I'm going to come around here with a piece of metal and go all the way across, all the way down to right here, and then the metal will come here, and I'll paint that metal. It'll cover up all these holes. And then, just while Emil was here, we were talking about it, and this is the bezel, and I had rough cut it out with a plasma cutter, so it looks really nasty. But I'm going to put this in here. This is the original Ford bezel. Well, you get the idea. It goes in here. Then I'm going to put a big gauge right here. Then I'm going to put another big gauge here. Then I'm probably going to put the tack in the middle, and this will all be aluminum across here, all the way across. Then I'm going to take a small gauge because I've got the oil pressure, the water temperature, and the tack. Then I'll need the voltmeter, which I think I'm going to put in this hole, and the gas gauge right here. So I'll have two small ones, one here, one big one, the oil pressure and the water temperature and the tack. So that just came to me when Emil was here to do the little ones, and I think it's pretty neat. They'll go in there like that. And if I had to, I could put another small one in here. So I could have two gauges here, and for sure I'm going to put the gas gauge over here. So it's kind of neat doing this stuff, because you can think of all kinds of ways to put it in. I've done it on a few cars, and it turned out okay. But I'd taken the back side of this also and cleaned it all up on the back side, and then put the Herculiner on the back. Nobody will see it but me, but I like it. So turned out pretty nice. And then the Ford, I have gone inside and I cleaned it up real good, the floor, and I sprayed it with bed liner, and then I'm going to put the Dynamat on top of that, and then put the carpet down. So it's getting closer and closer. Once I get the Dynamat in, then I'll wire up this dash and put it in also. So okay. Then in the back, I've ordered the metal to put some aluminum back in the back where it kind of breaks up the all black, and you'll be able to see stuff. So that's coming up. So we're getting closer and closer.
Question, Fred, is this coming off the frame ever, or has that already been done?
What?
This car.
I haven't put it up on the rack, but they did a lot of work to the frame. I don't know if he did or not. And when I put it up on the rack, which is coming up pretty quick, I'll determine whether I'm going to pick it up off the frame or not.
All right, okay.
You know, because this thing is so low, I'm too old to get under it anymore. And when I get it on the rack, oh, this needs a lot of work, you know, it
Yeah,
all
yeah.
depends.
Yeah, we'll see how it is. Well, I know there's a lot of work it started with, so it looks really nice. So.
Yeah.
And I see the front end is on too. We hadn't looked at that before.
Yeah, this is a temporary on, and I'm debating on whether to tilt it or leave it this way and build a fiberglass hood for it. It'd be so much easier to build a fiberglass hood. It'd be so much neater to tilt it. So that's the game plan right now. And when this guy that had before me, Buddy, I would like to ask him, and not being mean toward him, why did you cut the fender wells out that way? But I've had, if you remember the Thunderbolt clone,
Yeah.
there were no fender wells in it, and I built fender wells for it, and it turned out real nice.
Yeah.
So-
There's a plan right there.
Yeah, I may do that. I haven't decided yet. Also thought about this thing, it would almost be easy enough to build a front end where you could take out 6 bolts, take the whole front end off,
Yeah,
you know, which would be pretty neat.
that would be.
Yeah, so I'm still got that going around in my head, but you're talking about going underneath. When Buddy had it, he did the whole front suspension on it, and you can see he painted, the cross member in the back's been painted with
Oh,
red
okay. You
liner.
can see the whole frame, and it looks done, Fred.
Well, but that may be as far as he went.
Right. Okay.
You know, when I get under it, we'll find out.
Yeah.
Putting it together has become quite a challenge.
Okay.
You know, this up here.
Especially when somebody else took it apart.
Right, yeah, and I've got it, it's pretty sturdy, and I can build something to go from here down to there, and it'll sturdy
Stiffen
it
her up.
Yeah.
Cool.
But, yeah, the next thing is I'm gonna take the fenders back off, paint the back side of them, and paint them the color they're gonna be painted. Paint the firewall and all that, get all this roughed in painting, and then come back and paint it. And today, I'm kind of hung up on doing the yellow. I'm not a yellow person, but I've thought about it, and I've seen them, this is in my head, the yellow with the satin hood and the satin trunk. It was in black, and then some black trim on it. I
Right.
think that may look okay, but I never know. It might
Hey,
change.
if you don't like it, you can always fix it, Fred.
Yeah, somebody else may come over in 10 minutes and good idea, and change my mind. I'm not stuck, you know.
Exactly. All right. Cool.
So,
Well, nice talking to you, Fred.
good talking to you, Emil. Okay, I've got the 57 up on the rack, and I've spent about, 4 or 5 days doing underneath, because it was kind of raggedy underneath the car, and I got under there and didn't make it perfect. I made it where it's presentable. We'll lift it up in a minute, and I'll show you, but what I've done here on the outside, the firewall's all been flattened. Then underneath, I've bondoed up, welded up places where the metal, the floors were put in. And the guy that had it before me didn't have a lift, so he did everything from the top. So I had to get underneath it and cut all the excess metal off and the little bit of rust that was under there and do some bondo work and welding work. But it's as good as it's going to get right now underneath. What we'll do, I'm going to drop, he had a ratchet shifter in it. I don't like them, so we're going to take it off, and I'm getting ready to pull it down here on the ramp, and I've already did this. I set it up, and I may put the engine in today. I haven't decided, but this is where I'm going to pull it down the ramp, come in the back door, put the engine in, and then I can leave it on the rack. I can get underneath it and work on it. So this is the next step. So, Emil, let's take it up, and then I'll show you underneath, and we'll let it back down and take the ratchet shifter out.
Understood.
Okay, what we're going to do now is go underneath here, and I'll show you some of the issues that I had under here. And they're pretty well fixed. 15 years ago, I'd have done a whole lot better job, but the fella, again, he didn't have a lift to work underneath it. So when he cut the floorboards out, he cut it here, and then he left this piece of metal, pushed a floorboard under it, and it wasn't connected together. So I just welded it in, put some Bondo in it, covered it up. Same deal here. You can see the little spots where he welded from the inside, and then this piece of metal was sticking out like this. Well, doing it from the inside, you can't see a lot of things that are going on, like this floor. You see the gap in here, but it doesn't hurt anything. It was just, it's up against it here, so it'll hold it. Same thing here, doing it from the top side. It's hard to judge where you're at here, so he rolled the metal and put it here, which works. There's no problem with it. Same deal here. I had to cut all this metal off. Had to cut this because it was going forward. Had to cut this, fill this in, and then back here, this was a, doing this was a pretty good deal. I mean, the guy did a good job on it, but this is where the drive shaft goes through, and apparently with the drive shaft in it, it didn't clear up here, so he made this hump back here in the back and extended it back. And same deal, the metal was out here. I cut it all off, and I got about 3 days under it. Just, you don't see it, but it's all there. This was all out, everything on it. And like here, he bent this metal up and didn't get it exactly right. Doesn't hurt anything. The car is structurally held by these. It runs from here to here, and these were good with no problem. Same thing here. It looks like this one may have been rusted out, so he cut it here and here and put a good one in. So I'm very pleased with everything under here. I mean, it's not a show car, but it's, as I always say, good enough. That'll work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're gonna put a hoop in there?
Well, I'm just going to leave this.
Okay.
Because if it falls, it just catches there, you know.
Okay, cool. Man, those tires are wide, Fred.
Oh, yeah, incredible, ain't it?
From underneath, you really get a
Yeah.
good picture. I mean, narrow too.
Yeah,
That rear end is enormous, Fred.
yeah, it's a Ford 9-inch, and it wheels, the tires are
Seems
22
bigger than a
inch.
regular 9-inch, though.
It does. I think it's because this is all jammed in.
Okay,
It's an optical illusion.
maybe.
Yeah, I wish that I had good eyes where I could see what gear it's got in it.
Huh.
But,
Well, you know, we have the technology.
well, if we got the technology, let's do it, just to see.
We will, okay.
But whoever did the back half on this thing did a pretty good job.
Right.
I mean, the welding is way, way better than mine, way better. And he got everything pretty close. It's not a bad deal.
Cool.
All right. Well, what I'm going to do now, Neil, I'm going to drop this thing down. I'm going to get under here and take, there's 3 bolts here. There's this one.